For centuries, the moon has been hanging above us, silent, cold, and familiar. We grow up believing we know it, a lifeless rock, a cosmic companion, a symbol of romance and mystery. But what if that image is carefully constructed? What if the moon we think we know is only a fragment of the truth? Since 1969, humanity has supposedly not returned to the moon. Officially, we are told the missions were too expensive, too risky, and no longer a priority. But that explanation raises more questions than it answers. How is it that with technology millions of times more powerful than in the Apollo era, we suddenly can't go back? Why do the world's most advanced space programs quietly step away from the moon for decades? And why are some lunar images still classified to this day? The moon is not just a rock in space. It is a perfect cosmic anomaly. Its size is almost exactly what it needs to be to create total solar eclipses. Its orbit is strangely stable. Its composition doesn't fully match Earth's, yet it's too similar to be a random capture. Some scientists have even admitted that its internal structure behaves more like a hollow object than a solid one. And that's where the questions begin. During the Apollo missions, astronauts reported strange phenomena: lights on the lunar horizon, unexplained shadows, and moments of radio interference that were never fully explained to the public. Some audio transmissions were cut, some photographs were edited or never released. Why? What exactly did they see? What was deemed too sensitive for humanity to know? There are documents suggesting that unidentified objects were observed during lunar missions, objects that did not behave like natural satellites or space debris. Officially, these were dismissed as technical glitches or misinterpretations, but insiders have hinted otherwise. And then there's the far side of the moon, the side we never see from Earth. For decades, it remained completely hidden, fueling speculation. When the first images finally emerged, they raised even more questions than answers. Unusual geometric formations, structures that appear unnatural, patterns that don't resemble random craters. Coincidence or something more? Some researchers believe the moon may not be entirely natural at all. The theory that it could be an ancient artificial construct placed in orbit long before human civilization sounds extreme until you look at the math, the physics, and the anomalies that refuse to disappear. If the moon were truly just a dead rock, why does it still produce seismic vibrations that echo far longer than expected? Why does its density vary so drastically? And why does its presence play such a perfectly stabilizing role for life on Earth? Perhaps the most unsettling question is this: what if we stopped going back because we were told not to? What if something or someone made it clear that the moon was not ours to explore freely? Official agencies will never say this openly, but history has shown us that information is often withheld for public safety, or at least that's the excuse. In this series, we will explore the missions that never made headlines, the data that vanished, and the testimonies that were quietly buried. We will examine what might truly be hidden on the moon, and why humanity may not be ready to face it yet. Because sometimes the greatest discoveries are not hidden in the darkness of space, but in the silence that follows unanswered questions. And this is only the beginning.
Quest for knowledge.
After Apollo 17, the Apollo program was suddenly shut down. The official reason given was a lack of funding, a logical explanation on the surface considering the enormous costs of space exploration. But whispers and hints from some astronauts over the years suggest that there was something more, something that the public was not meant to see. What could have been discovered on the moon that led to such secrecy? There are accounts and testimonies implying that certain missions might have been classified, that records were removed or altered, and the details of lunar exploration were deliberately hidden. Astronauts have occasionally hinted at unusual sights, strange formations, or anomalies that they encountered on the lunar surface, raising questions that official channels never answer. Could it be that they saw something truly extraordinary? Something not meant for human eyes, something that challenges our understanding of the universe? In this story, we will explore the missions that are barely mentioned in official history, the missions that might have revealed truths that could change everything we thought we knew about the moon and our place in space. We will look at the evidence, the hints dropped in interviews, and the pieces of information that have slipped through the cracks over the decades. From shadowy reports of unexplained structures to inconsistencies in the released footage, the lunar surface may hold secrets that have been carefully guarded. Were these missions observing anomalies, remnants of a civilization long gone, or perhaps phenomena that defy scientific explanation? Some suggest that the abrupt end of the Apollo program was not just a matter of budget cuts, but a strategic decision to prevent humanity from uncovering truths too startling for the public. As we dig deeper, we consider the stories told by those who walked on the moon, the unexplained objects they reported, and the peculiar occurrences captured in mission logs. While NASA maintains that all missions were thoroughly documented and nothing unusual occurred, the pattern of secrecy and sudden cancellations fuels speculation. What lies beneath the lunar surface? Are there hidden structures, mysterious formations, or evidence of past activity that governments have chosen to conceal? The moon, once a silent witness to humanity's first steps beyond Earth, may hold answers to questions we are only beginning to ask. In this video, we will journey through the lesser-known lunar missions, examining the hints, anomalies, and testimonies that suggest there is more to the moon than we've been told. Join us as we explore the untold stories of the Apollo program, the mysteries that linger beyond the craters, and the possibility that the moon is keeping secrets that could forever change our understanding of the cosmos. Enthusiasts examining high-resolution satellite images of the moon have been noticing something truly unusual: structures that appear far too precise to be natural formations. There are towering spires, dome-like constructions, and shadows that fall in ways that seem to defy the very laws of physics. At first glance, NASA explains these as optical illusions, simple tricks of light and lunar terrain. But the more one studies the images, the more questions arise. Some of these photos, seemingly mundane at first, have mysteriously vanished from public archives, leaving behind only fragments and low-resolution versions. What could these structures really be? Are they remnants of ancient lunar civilizations, secret installations, or perhaps natural formations shaped in ways we cannot yet understand? Researchers have noted patterns repeating across different craters and plains, patterns too geometric, too deliberate to dismiss easily. Some enthusiasts have even created 3D models from the images, showing towers that cast perfectly straight shadows and dome-like shapes with symmetrical designs. Adding to the mystery, certain images that were once publicly available suddenly disappear or are replaced with edited versions. Why would images of the moon's surface, some from decades-old missions, be removed from open archives? Is it a matter of NASA protecting sensitive data? Or is there something else entirely that they do not want the public to see? Experts in lunar geology offer explanations, citing unusual rock formations, lighting angles, and shadow effects, but the debate continues. The internet is full of forums where amateur researchers compare images from different missions, cross-referencing locations and timestamps, searching for patterns that official reports dismiss. Some of the most intriguing finds are not just static structures, but shadows that behave strangely, changing direction or length inconsistently, as if influenced by something beyond our understanding of physics. Could it be evidence of something active on the moon? Or is it all just our brains trying to find order in randomness? As we explore more images, the number of anomalies grows, raising a chilling possibility that the moon may hold secrets far older and stranger than humanity has ever imagined. And while mainstream science encourages skepticism, the question remains: why, if these images were harmless, why would they disappear? Why would certain areas be off-limits or heavily censored in publicly accessible archives? Every anomaly, every vanished photograph, every inexplicable shadow adds to the enigma of the moon, a silent world orbiting our planet, keeping its secrets in plain sight. What really lies on its surface, and how long will the truth remain hidden from us? For those who dare to look, the moon is not just a barren satellite, it is a puzzle, a mystery that challenges everything we think we know about our nearest celestial neighbor. The United States was not the only country to reach the moon. Other nations, including the Soviet Union, China, and even private companies, launched missions to the lunar surface, missions shrouded in secrecy and mystery. Many of these missions were officially described as scientific or exploratory, yet the details released to the public were often sparse, incomplete, or strangely inconsistent. Some spacecraft simply vanished from tracking systems shortly after launch, while others made it to the moon only to disappear from communications once they landed. In the case of the Soviet Luna program, numerous probes were sent, some carrying instruments, some supposedly designed for sample return, but several missions failed under mysterious circumstances. Certain landers were reported as lost, their whereabouts still debated by researchers. China, too, has sent robotic missions to the moon, including landers and rovers that explored areas far from the Apollo landing sites. While much of their work is publicly documented, some details about the objectives and findings remain classified, leaving room for speculation. Even private enterprises and lesser-known nations have attempted lunar missions. Some were announced with much fanfare, but later reports suggest that certain objectives were highly experimental or possibly involved testing technology for purposes never fully revealed. What were these missions truly after? Scientific data? Rare minerals? Evidence of past activity? Or something else entirely? The silence surrounding many of these operations has fueled countless theories. Some believe that secret surveys were conducted to study anomalies, strange formations, or even artificial structures. Others suspect reconnaissance far beyond public knowledge, a careful observation of the lunar surface for strategic purposes. As we piece together the fragments of these secret lunar operations, one thing becomes clear. The moon has always held a fascination not just for exploration, but for secrecy. Many missions, while officially routine, leave questions that remain unanswered to this day. What exactly were they searching for in the shadows of the lunar surface? Only time and perhaps future revelations may tell.
There's a theory that is never mentioned in textbooks, a theory quietly avoided by official space agencies, a theory that suggests there are regions on the moon that are off limits even today. Not because of radiation, not because of technical limitations, but because of something else entirely. Modern lunar maps are incredibly detailed, showing craters, fractures, and terrain with stunning precision. Yet some areas appear blurred, missing, or strangely simplified, as if someone deliberately removed information. These anomalies appear across different missions, different satellites, and different years, raising a disturbing question: coincidence or control? Official explanations say these areas are unimportant, too dangerous, or scientifically uninteresting. But how can that be true on the closest celestial body to Earth? Why are the same coordinates repeatedly avoided? Enthusiasts analyzing lunar imagery have noticed shadows that fall in impossible directions, objects that don't change with lighting or perspective, and shapes that appear unnaturally geometric. Some describe towers, domes, or massive structures partially buried beneath the surface. NASA claims these are optical illusions, artifacts of resolution, or tricks of light. Yet some images quietly vanish from public archives without explanation. Even more unsettling are reports that certain lunar coordinates are excluded from modern navigation systems, marked as zones to avoid, with no public justification. Former engineers and researchers, speaking anonymously, have hinted that some regions are simply labeled "Do Not Approach." And then comes the most unsettling idea of all. What if the moon is not entirely natural? Its strange density, its internal resonance, the way it rang like a bell for nearly an hour when struck during Apollo missions, these facts continue to raise eyebrows. Some scientists have suggested hollow sections beneath the surface, anomalies that defy simple geological explanation. And then there's the silence. After Apollo 17, humans never returned. Officially, it was too expensive.
Unofficially, perhaps too many questions were raised. Perhaps something was discovered that changed everything. Maybe the moon is not just a satellite, but a construct or a watcher. And maybe some parts of it were never meant to be explored. As we look up at it every night, calm and familiar, one question remains. Is the moon hiding something from us, or are we simply not ready to face what's already there? Maybe we are not alone. Maybe the moon is not what we were told it is. And maybe the most uncomfortable truth is not that something is hiding out there, but that humanity is not ready to face it. For centuries, the moon has been a symbol of mystery, inspiration, and silent observation. It watches us every night, unchanged, ancient, and distant. We were taught that it is just a dead rock, a natural satellite formed billions of years ago, nothing more. And yet, the deeper we look, the more questions appear. Why does the moon's orbit seem so perfectly placed? Why is it almost exactly the same apparent size as the sun, allowing perfect eclipses that should be statistically improbable? Why does it ring like a bell when struck during Apollo missions, vibrating for hours as if hollow inside? These are not answers found in conspiracy forums alone. They are questions raised by scientists themselves, quietly acknowledged, then often dismissed without exploration. And then there are the images, the high-resolution lunar photographs that show strange geometric patterns, unnatural straight lines, symmetrical formations, and shadows that seem to bend against the laws of physics. We are told these are tricks of light, compression artifacts, or misinterpretations of terrain. But why then do some regions appear blurred or altered across different missions, across different decades, across different space agencies? Why do certain coordinates remain consistently avoided? Official explanations say there's nothing there, but history teaches us that what is labeled nothing often hides the most inconvenient truths. After Apollo 17, humans never returned to the moon. Officially, the reason was cost, politics, priorities. Yet, technology advanced exponentially afterward. We built space stations, landed robots on Mars, mapped distant galaxies, but somehow we never went back. Not really, not with humans, not to explore further. And some astronauts, long after their missions ended, spoke carefully, choosing words that hinted rather than revealed. Statements about things that shouldn't be there, about watchers, about encounters that could never be confirmed, only suggested. Were they joking, or were they bound by silence? Consider this. What if the moon is not just a moon? What if it is a structure, an ancient construct placed in orbit long before humanity existed? A monitoring station, a beacon, or even a safeguard, not for us, but against us. If a civilization far older than ours once observed Earth, would they leave traces so obvious that we'd instantly understand them? Or would they hide them in plain sight, knowing our minds would dismiss what doesn't fit our models? Perhaps the moon is a mirror, reflecting not just sunlight, but our own limitations. We search for life elsewhere, yet struggle to accept the possibility that we are not the first to look up at the stars from this planet. Maybe the truth isn't hidden because it's dangerous. Maybe it's hidden because it would change everything: religion, science, power, identity. Imagine the impact of learning that humanity was observed, guided, or even engineered, that our history is not as isolated as we believed, that we are part of a much older story written across the cosmos. Would we unite, or would we collapse under the weight of that knowledge? Governments speak of national security, scientists speak of insufficient evidence, but between those explanations lies a silence, a gap where questions echo unanswered. And perhaps that silence is intentional, because the real danger is not what's on the moon, it's what would happen if everyone truly believed it came. What if the truth challenges our sense of control? What if it proves that we are not the apex of intelligence, not the final chapter of evolution, but merely a chapter still being observed? Maybe the moon is not hiding secrets from us. Maybe it's waiting for us to be ready. Ready to look without fear. Ready to question without denial. Ready to accept that the universe does not revolve around humanity and never did. So, ask yourself this. If tomorrow, undeniable proof emerged that we are not alone, that the moon holds evidence of something ancient and intelligent, would you want to know? Or would you prefer the comfort of the story we've always been told? Because the most frightening possibility is not that something is out there watching us, it's that it always has been, and we're only now beginning to notice. And maybe, just maybe, that's why the truth has stayed hidden for so long. Not because we couldn't handle it, but because we weren't meant to find it yet. So, what do you think? Are we being protected or controlled? Are we observers or the observed? The moon is still there, silent, watching, waiting. And the question remains, are we finally ready to hear the truth?